Alright, some friends and I got a few things done yesterday. We got the dry sump tank mounted. Looking nice in there. And I got one more line run in the back. I'm going to finish up. I had to go get some more brake lines, so we'll wrap up. Well, I'm going to get this front left run. I'm going to get the lines from the master to the pump run with the whatchamacallit, the pressure sensors in there, and then I'm going to run the right front. We'll probably go somewhere probably up here to this whole area, and then I'm going to put a union up there to run a pressure switch for my brake lights, because I'll be able to run power a very short line to there, and then from there back to the brake lights. So, and then from there we'll carry on to the right front. I'm aware that the pressure sensor is going to be downstream from the ABS, so when I'm getting into ABS, it might cause my brakes to flicker, my brake lights to flicker. I don't know that for sure, but in a way that seems like a cool idea. So I'm going to try it that way, and if it flickers, it might be cool, because then the people behind me will know, like, okay, he's trying to really stop. So and if it doesn't, if it's just regular brake lights, then that's fine too. So, but we'll find out. All right, I don't know if I've done a real good job explaining what I'm doing here with the brakes. So the factory brake system in the Corvettes isn't, in my opinion, that good. It's way too front heavy for bias, which you can solve other ways, but ice mode would be the biggest issue with it. You can research any number of other people's opinions on ice mode, and most of them are the same. It's not cool, especially in a wheel-to-wheel scenario, where if you're in a bad situation, you lock up the brakes, or if you smash the brakes quickly and they lock up and it senses whatever it senses and puts you in ice mode, it's basically like having no brakes, and whoever's in front of you is not going to like you. So I'm trying to avoid that. I don't know for sure if the BMW system doesn't have ice mode. I think it was pre-ice mode before they realized how great of a thing that was going to be. It may still have it, I don't know, but from what I've heard, it works pretty well. So anyway, you've already seen the module, the pump. There's a few other pieces you need. In a Corvette, you need the ZR1 hubs. Is the easiest way to do it. They need a certain signal, and the ZR1 hubs have the signal that this needs. So that's the easiest way on a Corvette to do it. I'm sure on other vehicles there's different tone rings you have to buy, or whatever the case might be. And then in this case you also buy ZR1 axles to fit the ZR1 hubs. So that's not that big a deal. And then a few other parts. You get a yaw sensor, and what I'm told is this attaches tabs up, so you'd think it would go in the car like that. It goes in like this, and the plug goes towards the front of the car. And then two pressure sensors, one for the front, one for the rear. This goes between the master cylinder and the ABS pump. And then you need a harness to connect all these sensors, all your wheel sensors, your ABS pump, and these guys. And got a gentleman named Doug that's doing all that. So I'll probably get more information for you guys if you want to contact him. I'll try to put it in the description below, maybe, because he's very helpful, and he makes these harnesses too, so that a guy like me doesn't have to try and figure that out. But anyway, so that's the gist of it. I might have missed a thing or two, but right now we're still in brake line mode. So I'll probably just show you when I'm done, or closer to done. All right, I got all the lines done except for the one right front, which, like I said, I'm going to run the brake light pressure switch up there. So once that kit comes in, I can finish it up. But here's what I did. So from the master cylinder down to my pressure sensors, which instead of building another bracket and mounting them on it, I just put those fittings underneath the pump. So they should all be close. Hopefully these don't interfere with my plug. I guess we'll find out. But otherwise, everything else is down to there, up to the main ends, and then from there out to the tires, so, or wheels, brakes, things. Anyway, so yeah, it's good enough for me, and I can check that off for now. Hello! So we're going to be jumping around again because that's just how things are going to be for a while. But while we're waiting on a part to arrive for the brake system, I've got the engine back over here. We've got a few things that came in that we need to button up. First being this steam vent kit, which I'll open that and I'll tell you what it's about here in just a second. So LS engines have steam vents, 4 of them. They're on the top of the heads. Hopefully I've got you in the frame here. So we've got a spot here, here, and the same thing on the other side. And the idea behind them is to prevent hot spots in the engine, or also to prevent air pockets and whatnot. So when you change intakes, well, most of the time the back ones are blocked off, I believe, in most cases from the factory. In a racing scenario, it's best to use all 4. So there's lots of companies that make kits for these. This one uses relatively short little fittings and converts them to AN. So all we got to do is pop these on the corners, tighten them down, and then hook up our lines. This one is all nice AN fittings, nice line, and I'm going to be running this to my expansion tank, which is not here yet, but I bought just a fabricated sheet metal tank. And I'll be running those lines then directly to the top of my expansion tank. Ideally, you'd probably have your intake on first, which is probably what I should go do. So you can obviously see I didn't have gaskets on or anything. I'm not permanently putting the intake manifold on just yet because I will still need to lift it into place, the engine that is, into place before I put that on and my lift plate attaches to the valley cover. So I'm just trying to get an idea of what their intentions were with these lengths. This is pretty... I guess maybe we'll go up and over the fuel rail. This may be the idea. Well, it looks like it's going to work, I think. It's just a little long. So again, the intake's just loosely on here. But I think those will work out pretty slick, other than maybe a custom length would have been good, but once we get the fuel rails on, we can zip tie them down and make it look a little better, and I'm sure they'll be just fine then. But you can see we go to all 4 ends. This is the same thing I did on the ZR1, more or less. I'll take you over here. Probably shouldn't leave this hood open. She's getting all dusty, this poor girl. But not that you can see it, but anyway. There's one you can see. But I did all that, just sourced my own fittings, and this one I actually took the heads off and I drilled them because with this intake you have very little clearance. So I drilled them and then I put NPT to a AN90 fitting so it would be nice and low profile to get down in there. Anyway, this is more or less what the new engine should look like appearance wise, other than we'll be running the comp intake, the fast intake. But I'll be running the same valve covers and coils and everything. So I'm excited to see it getting closer and closer. We got some more jewelry to put on here. I think we'll get this thing off the engine stand here and address the back end All right, so we're basically only taking this off for two reasons. To replace this and to replace this rear main seal. You can see our sexy little comp cam in there. Got the cover replaced. Sorry, not the cover, but the rear main seal and the cover seal. And now we're just going to torque it down, which is always fun while it's dangling. Wonder if you can see this, or if you want to see this. How's that? As you can see, there's plenty of room to move in this one. So I'll flip it over here and show you what we're aiming for. Basically what we're after is these puppies lining up. I do have a centering tool, but I already put the rear main seal in and I don't really care that much. Really, you want this flat and then it's centered from side to side. Alright, I gotta go pick up my son from school here in just a couple minutes, and in case things get crazy or when we get back, I thought I'd give you an update now before it gets that way. I got the front cover on. I don't know if I showed you that or not. And then I've got the ATI damper. So this is probably the most popular damper that is offered on at least LS engines. Probably, I think they've got a wide range, but very popular, and they're not cheap, but it's a good protection for your investment. So anyway, and part of the reason that's there is to run the dry sump. It's got this inner cog here for the belt. Before I go, brown truck guy just left and delivered something we've been waiting on for a while. This is a track spec radiator. I think it's the radiator that they're using in the Spec Corvette series. I like it for a couple reasons. It's a little bit bigger, a little thicker, and I think it's maybe a tiny bit wider than factory. And it's also got built-in oil cooler, so we'll be able to hook our dash 10 feeds here and have an oil cooler built in. Plus, I'm going to be using this circuit here for cooling power steering. So it's kind of a all in one little unit, which I'm pretty excited about. And then I bought this little guy. Hopefully this is sufficient for an expansion tank. It's obviously not very big, but it's got the fittings I'm looking for, and hopefully that will work well. Why don't you tell them a joke?
Hey, why did ice cream cross the road?
What did you say, bud?
Why did ice cream cross the road?
Why?
Because I was trying to get to his friend where the ice cream is. Well, it's not actually good, probably. Not good. I should not do that.
I don't think I get that, buddy.
Yeah.
So here we got our 3-stage pump, and I talked about this before. My favorite part, buddy, can't make noise, they got to be able to hear. My favorite part of the Dailey engineering dry sump system is that it's all built in to the pan. Buddy, please, can you sit still for just a second? Thank you. So the scavenge holes go the length of the pan, and it all gets sucked up directly to the pump, which is attached to the pan, which is very slick. So not only does it look pretty, it works pretty. So now we'll pull out this plug here, and we'll put our feed line port in there, and you'll see once it's in the car how we route the hoses and everything, but this is where you now feed the engine from the pump. Okay, so we got this little guy installed. That's super easy. It's got a little crush washer on it, so you just torque that puppy down. Obviously we've got the oil pan all torqued down, and we've got the pump installed, and the damper and the belt, and Jace is going to tell us how this all works.
So this spins that it makes the oil go through the whole engine.
That's right, bud. Yep. So the crankshaft, this pulley here, spins through the belt, which spins this pump, and that pumps oil through the engine, right?
Yeah.
Because what happens if we don't pump oil through the engine?
It will rub, and then you'll run out of power.
Yeah, the engine will blow up, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's why we have this fancy oiling system on this engine, is because when we're pulling high G's in the corners on our Hoosier tires, we don't want oil sloshing to the side and the pickup not being able to get the oil where it needs to go. So we use this fancy dry sump system to make sure we always have oil to the engine. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Any other jokes?
I still need to come up with a few more jokes.
Why don't you tell us that thing about being a silly goose? Ready, go.
If you're not watching the Jeremy Swenson Racing Channel, silly goose.
All right. Love you.
I love
What?
you. Love you.
I love you.
I love you too.
Okay. Thanks for your patience. As these videos kind of jump all over the place, I appreciate you sticking with us. I think I found an outro. I'm not going to probably have it down for a while, but it's simple and to the point. It goes like this. Thanks for watching. Smash buttons. Love you.